Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Memorial University, and thank you for attending today's graduate orientation. It's our honor to see so many new graduate students here and to welcome our speakers from various units who will deliver today's information sessions. My name is Xin, and I am the Career and Employer Relations Coordinator with Graduate Studies, and I will be your MC for today's event. This year's marks Memorial University's 100th anniversary, and we are so happy to celebrate this milestone with you. Thank you so much for the 100th anniversary office for your support and assistance with our graduate orientation. Now, before we begin, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. We are live streaming today's orientation, and thank you to the assistance of CITL. Please note that the photos and the videos will be taken for promotional purpose during today's event. If you haven't scanned the QR code to sign in, please do so during the break, and we will be drawing prizes at the end of the orientation. Washrooms are located on this floor, just at the back of the classroom, nearby the School of Graduate Studies. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask SGS staff. Today, we are wearing a t-shirt, and you can also ask our volunteers for help. So we hope you have a great, lovely day, as it marks the beginning of your academic journeys at Memorial University. Welcome to Graduate Studies at Memorial University. Now, I would like to do a very important part, the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the lands on which Memorial University's campus are situated in the traditional territories of diverse indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Biosek, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. Now let's welcome Dr. Janet Morrison, the President and Vice-Chancellor of Memorial University. She will be delivering a greeting and a welcome message. For more than 35 years, Dr. Morrison has been proud to lead at college and universities, renowned for their unwavering commitment to academic quality and student success. She joined Memorial University in August this year, coming from Sheridan College, where she served as president since 2018. She also has extensive governor's experience as a board chair and a member of executive, governors, accountability, and quality committees across the nonprofit sector, and believes the post-secondary education fuels human, economic, and social development. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Morrison.
So folks, I'm not sure there's anything more awkward than having to sit through your bio being read. The most important thing in all of that is that I am on day 24 as your president. I'm loving every minute, but I am as new as many of you. So welcome this morning. I want to thank all of the amazing staff and faculty and our graduate student union. There's members of the union here, I know. Can you raise your hand if you're here from the union? I saw some of them downstairs. They might still be downstairs, but what tremendous student leadership in action. And so I'm very much looking forward to working collaboratively with GSU and the School of Graduate Studies this year. So listen, academic colleagues, whether you're new to Memorial or you're new to graduate studies, whether you have just landed in Newfoundland and Labrador or and have come from away like me, or whether you are from this province, I want to thank you for choosing Memorial University and for trusting us as partners in this next leg of your learning journey. So I did my graduate work a long time ago at both the University of Guelph and then at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, in history and in education. And I met many of you from education this morning. And I was thinking yesterday that at the start of both of those degrees, I remember sitting in orientations, and I recall with great clarity looking around and being intimidated by my peers. I just had this sense that everybody was smarter than me, knew more than me, had more experience with research than I did. They seemed incredibly eloquent and so confident. It was my first, certainly not my last, experience with imposter phenomena. I honestly was 100% certain that people were going to figure out that I didn't belong there. Here's the thing, though. I worked full-time through my graduate degrees in student affairs. And it wasn't long after those experiences at orientation that graduate students started to come and see me in my full-time job to express that they too didn't believe they were supposed to be there. So that's the lesson you take away. If you look around you, part of being a graduate student is being curious, is challenging yourself to do new things, scary things, tough things. That in and of itself is why you're going to be awesome at this, but it's also the genesis of some nervousness, hopefully combined with excitement, but that's where it comes from. So you heard earlier, this is Memorial University's centennial. From the moment the college was opened in 1925, I've been, obviously doing some research on our history. It has been producing thought leaders, makers, creators, innovators, change agents who have and continue to shape and fuel social and economic development in Newfoundland and Labrador, across Canada and globally. So I believe in the transformative power of post-secondary education. You must too, and I've been a witness to its impact for decades. You are ready for this, and the world, our broken, divided, disrupted world, needs you. It needs you desperately. Now that said, there are challenges ahead because few things in life worth doing come easy, and learning is one of those things. I expect each of you, for example, to reflect on the words often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi to the effect that you can't shake hands with a closed fist. So in other words, your obligation is to make the world better. And that will demand that you be open, that you find spaces of safety and trust, and that you be flexible. As an educated person, I expect you to open your hand and see the world as layered, as messy, and that's not always going to be easy. In those moments, be conscious of the theory of challenge and support, which holds that thriving as a human, as an academic, as a citizen in a democracy, happens when we balance an appropriate level of challenge with an equal level of support. There is great news in this story because you have joined a learning community that is wholly committed to your success. I'm new, but I have seen it every day since I started on August 11th. The School of Graduate Studies in particular is deeply vested in you, in your well-being, in your experience, in your success. I just read a summary report of data from your peers as recently as last year who tell that story beautifully. You will be supported in this journey. Challenge yourself, ask for help when you need it. I promise you, there are people here who will do their best to step up. So again, welcome to Memorial University. Thank you for trusting us, and best of luck with the year ahead. I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible over the next few weeks and to learning over time about your experiences and all of your accomplishments. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Morrison. Our next speaker is Dr. Jennifer Brown, the Director of Student Life. She is the Director of Student Life and also a professor in the Faculty of Education at Memorial University. With over 2 decades in the field of student affairs in various senior leadership roles at Memorial University, Dr. Brown is committed to working collaboratively with students, staff, and partners to ensure a supportive, enriched learning environment for our students. Now, please welcome Dr. Brown, who will introduce the services and support provided by our Student Life.
Good morning, everyone. That's awesome. This is like the best time of year. It is by far, I think, the most vibrant and exciting time for all of us who work in higher education. And I do have a few words to say, and I do have one slide to share. But I just want to share when I didn't want to walk over with just a piece of paper in my hand. I wanted to look really professional and put it in a clipboard. And I just grabbed a clipboard off my shelf. And I was just sitting here next to my colleague, Lynn, and I looked at it. And it's from Orientation 1996. And that was not my first year. That I was a student leader as an undergrad. It's Dr. Warren's first year as a student. So you may still have this artifact laying somewhere in your house or in your office as well. So I've been around for a few years. And I can't say, or all I can say is that it's been quite a journey. And I was a graduate student at Memorial University, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience. And I've, listening to some of what Dr. Morrison, or all of what Dr. Morrison just said, but listening to certain aspects certainly resonates when we think about things like imposter syndrome and things like that. And I had 2 very different experiences in my graduate work. I'm wondering how many of you are parents or have those that you care for younger humans. So we do have some people, and then others that are here on your own or maybe with a spouse or partner. My master's, was I was a new grad, fresh out of doing my undergrad, full-time grad student, so engaged, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience. When I did my doctoral work, I had 2 little ones and a full-time job and all the things that come with that. And both of them were intimidating, and I had that imposter syndrome. What my advice to you would be is that you approach your degree as 1 semester at a time, not as what you're looking at the end and finishing, but all you have to do right now is just get from September to December. That's all. 1 semester. And then when that's over, you just got to do 1 more. And then another one. And maybe for 7 years, you're going to be doing 1 more semester. But maybe, you'll finish it much sooner than that. So get your mindset in a good place where you're just thinking about the bite-sized piece that you have to do right now, and not think about sometimes the big pieces that come as part of the journey. So that's just my little piece of advice before I dive into my formal remarks. So I do want to welcome you sincerely to Memorial University and congratulate you all on embarking on this exciting new chapter of your academic and professional journey. Whether you are here to pursue research, expand your knowledge, or develop the skills necessary for your career, we are thrilled to have you join our vibrant Memorial University community. You have made a great choice in choosing Memorial to complete your graduate studies. And I say that, as I just mentioned, not because I work here, but because I also completed my master's degree at Memorial. And it truly was an incredible and positive experience. The faculty, the staff, everyone was so supportive. As graduate students, you are part of a unique group that plays a vital role in advancing knowledge and making meaningful contributions to your fields. And we understand that pursuing graduate studies can come with its challenges, and we want to ensure that you have all the support and resources you need to thrive both academically and personally. So at Memorial, we believe that your success goes beyond just coursework and research. So I just want to take this opportunity to highlight the services offered by Student Life designed to help you balance your academic pursuits with personal well-being, career development, and more. And while we're just one office, there's so much support across this campus. So first is career development. And Shin, you mentioned that you provide those supports also in grad studies. And we work closely, the Central Career Center works closely with the School of Grad Studies to make sure that you have the career supports that you need. So the career development team is here to assist you with all aspects of your career journey. While you have support available through the School of Grad Studies, career development also offers impactful programming and support throughout the year that prepares you for the world of work and connects you with employers and opportunities. Whether you're aiming for academia, industry, or another field, we offer career fairs, workshops, and resources to help you navigate the career landscape with confidence. And I want to highlight that, I mean, it's only a couple of weeks away, but we are already trying to find you jobs or your next opportunity. That on September 24th, we have our 26th annual Career and Graduate School Fair in collaboration with the College of the North Atlantic here on campus in the Field House. And we already have over 100 employers who have signed up. And I guarantee you, they only signed up because they want to meet every single one of you. So please come out. Even if you're not graduating next year, many of them have opportunities to engage much earlier. And you can start developing those relationships and see which employers and organizations are looking for people with the degrees and skills that you will bring to the table. So please check out the Student Life website for all the details there, and you'll see the signs all over campus. We recognize that graduate school can be demanding, and the Student Support Office is committed to ensuring that you have the resources to support you if you hit any bumps along the way. This office also oversees the Student Code of Rights and Responsibilities and the Respectful Learning Environment Policy. That's not the only office that's going to provide you support. I can't stop looking at Andrew Kim over here in the cutout. If anyone, is the real live Andrew in this room? He's up there. There he is. So I keep looking over thinking that Andrew is just standing there. There's so much support. Shin, the wonderful Dean, Andrew, and all the staff, and right across the campus, there's so many. You're going to hear from Lynn in a minute with Internationalization Office. The Student Support Office is another one of those resources that oversees some of those policies and some of those, if you get into like, some type of housing insecurity or financial insecurity, we all work together across Memorial to make sure we can help you across those bumps. So please reach out for assistance if needed throughout your time at Memorial. And if there's anyone in the room that identifies with a disability, I want to highlight the resources of the Blunden Center, a fabulous staff here on campus who help provide tailored services for accommodations to help you succeed. So whether you require academic accommodations, assistive technologies, or just need guidance on how to navigate university life with a disability, the Blunden Center is here to support your unique needs. And finally, the Student Experience Office focuses on creating an inclusive, engaging, and rewarding student experience. They support engaging programming that helps students connect and feel a true sense of belonging at Memorial. Through events like Make Midterm Matter and the Volunteer Incentive Program, and much, much more, they provide opportunities to connect with peers, explore new interests, and develop leadership skills that will benefit both your personal and professional growth. So I encourage you to get involved while you're here. It really does enhance your student experience. And I can tell you that graduate students highly subscribe to many of the events and opportunities and programming that is offered through Student Life. So once again, welcome to Memorial University. I personally am so excited to welcome you here. I realize I don't even have my name on the slide or my contact information, but please reach out if there's anything that I can do as well on your journey here. You are in for a wonderful ride here at Memorial, and I wish you every success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. Now, I would like to introduce Lynn Walsh, the interim director of the Internationalization Office. Lynn has worked at Memorial University for over 20 years in the area of international education and also student services and support. She works with a great team to ensure timely and creative programming is in place inbound and outbound students at Memorial University. Please welcome Lynn Walsh, who will introduce the services and support offered by our Internationalization Office. Thank you, Lynn.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. A couple of things. One, Andrew might be here or might be gone, but yes, every time I look over, I'm like, oh, he's there. And then I'm like, oh, he hasn't blinked in a while. But I'm like, that's not Andrew. Secondly, Jennifer came in with her delightful clipboard. I came in with a Post-it and a couple of slides. So it's really nice to see your faces, and welcome to MUN. It's really nice to be here. Thank you, Sin, for all the work that you did in putting this together. It's a huge undertaking, so I really appreciate the invitation. Again, I'm Lynn. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the interim director of the Internationalization Office. It's a long word. If you want to say IO or the International Office, it's all good. We lose people at the ization, but that's okay. So it's really nice, and thank you for being here. I promise I won't take up too much of your time. I have a couple of slides for the international students that are in the room and a few slides for students, domestic and international, should you be participating in any outbound activities as a grad student. Presenting at a conference, a poster presentation somewhere, doing some field research outside of Canada, all of those super duper great opportunities that might pop up throughout your experience as a student at MUN. So it's interesting. I don't need to turn around. Okay, but I do need to see my slides. So pre-arrival, July and August for international students in the room. So the IO, we oversee settlement and support for international students. Pre-arrival while you're here, and then supporting you when you're graduating, whether you're moving on to non-academic or academic job search or your journey. So we have some pre-arrival webinars. We had some in July and August. If you participated in any of those would have been organized from our office. Like housing, immigration, super important. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Talked about housing and just sort of getting you ready to arrive. But like, you're here, which is excellent. So you've made it. There are students that we also know that are still en route. There are students that are arriving today and over the next few days as well. I should have had this. Oh, it is in front of me. How great. Oh, now it's gone again. Okay. Arrival supports. So we have a new student peer support program. If you're new, and if you're an international student and you're like, what's that about? I could really use like a friend, or I just want to touch base with somebody, or this is a lot and I would love to meet someone. Please touch base with our office. I'll have our contact information on the last slide, but it is a great way for you to connect with other students. These are students that sign up and want to help you. They want to support you on your journey. It doesn't need to be a long relationship. A lot of these times they happen organically and you end up having a buddy for the rest of your time. But sometimes it's just for the first few weeks of the start of your grad program. And that's really helpful. So if you're just like, you're here and you're just like, I live off campus, where's the grocery store? And I gotta go get this thing called MCP, what's that about? All of those things, they can help you with those pieces. So if you'd like to avail of that, we offer that opportunity, and if you don't want to, you don't have to either. Just kind of want to let you know what's there for you as a student. Orientation, you're here today. There's another one happening today and on Monday. So our office is located over in Burton's Pond apartment complex. Can I get you just to raise your hands a little bit if you kind of know where Burton's Pond apartment complex is? Okay. So some of you may or may not know where it is, but there's the university daycare, there's student residence, and then there's this lovely collection of 4-story brick buildings around Burton's Pond. We're in the middle of that, of building number 17 and building number 25. We're the international office. And today, until 3:30, And Monday, from 9:30 to 3:30, there's going to be what we call them clinics. So there's going to be medical care plan members from the government of Newfoundland will be there if you want to sign up for your MCP card. You can do that if your study permit is longer than 12 months. You can, if you haven't already received your social insurance number or your SIN at your port of entry, if you don't have that yet, you can drop down as well. There's also going to be people from Canada Revenue Agency, income tax. Ugh. Income tax is next, like it's next like February, March, and April. We help with that too, but they'll be there. There's also going to be a bank if you need to get set up with your banking or you have some questions. And there's also going to be an immigration advisor there to talk to you just, if you got any questions, you've just arrived, you're wondering what's happening, can you explain my documents? I want to work. I want to bring my wife or my husband with me. How can my spouse work while we're here? I have lots of questions. I want to talk to you. The date on my permit isn't going to be for as long as my program. I'm really worried. Those kind of things. So that's why. So today, squeeze everything you can out of all the hard work that Sin and Dr. Warren put together for you today. When you're done, if you have time, drop by and see us. We're there till 3:30, but this whole thing happens again 9:30 to 3:30 on Monday. Weekly programming. So and our welcome event. So in 3 weeks, we are going to have a welcome event at our space for new and for returning students. It's going to be pizza. Always get students. Food always gets you. Pizza, there will be games. There will be some coffee and tea and some healthy snacks and some healthy drinks. Great way for you to see the space. Great way for you to realize where you need to go to scoot over and see an advisor and to sort of see our office and meet our team. Weekly programming. We have discussion group and coffee club. So if you are here and over the next few weeks you like a lot of the adjustment of feeling excitement and then that kind of honeymoon phase and then it dips down a little bit, that whole adjustment phase of being a grad student. If you're finding it a bit tough in whatever way that shows up for you and you want to chat with somebody, having a hard time just meeting some friends, or it's just like, oh man, this is going to be a rough semester, I just need to shake it off, then drop over and see us. We have every Wednesday and every Friday, we have social programming that happens in our office and we would love to see you. There's nothing prescriptive. You can just show up, have some coffee, tea, some biscuits, have a chat or not have a chat. Just sit back and relax on the couch, sit in the sunshine. It's all good. And immigration, health insurance, and income tax advising. So I want to impress upon you the importance of immigration advising. On campus, there's only a couple of staff that are allowed to provide you with advice. Sin is one of them. And in our office, we also have a couple of immigration advisors. They're the only people that are allowed to really give you information that you have about your study permit and your passport and things like that. And it can be real stressful. And immigration advising over the last couple of years has become increasingly complex, with all of the changes that have been happening to the international student program. And it's a lot. And it's a lot to digest and to figure out. And so if you are wondering, if you are worried, if you kind of come and you're like, oh my God, my friend told me that blah, 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 can I do that? And you're like, it's great that your friend told you to come over here, but your friend may or may not know the right answer. We can help find the right answer for you. So please stop by and see us if you have any questions. Health insurance. You might be seeing an automatic charge on your student account. Call Foreign Health or what's this GuardMe health insurance all about? What's that? So every international student that registers at MUN, undergrad or grad, you are automatically charged the foreign health insurance because we need to ensure that you have medical insurance. It's in the calendar. We have to make sure you're protected. So if you have your MCP card and you're like, I think I want to switch over to the grad student union plan. It's a little bit more comprehensive and I'd like to do that. And my friend did that the other day. How do I do that? Drop over and talk to us. Right? If you see those charges and you're like, what's this about? Or I didn't want to do this, but it's still showing up on my account. How come I see it? Drop over and talk to us and we can answer those questions for you. Family off-campus housing supports. Our family advisor is currently on maternity leave herself and returns to work on next Monday. So if you are here, as Jennifer was mentioning, if you're here with your husband or your wife or your little ones or your entire family, or you're here and your family is back home or in another country and you need support, guidance, information, that our family advisor is the person to talk to. Off-campus housing, if you're living in res, you are supported 24/7. They're great. If you're living off campus and you have some questions, we have an advisor that can help you with that as well. Career advising, lots of supports, the central office. We have Sin over here in grad studies, and Emma works in our office as international career advisor as well. So that whole scope of service is covered. And if you're having any personal issues, financial or academic, there's a social worker who works in our office, and they'd be really happy to talk with you if you're just facing a little bump. I had a few bumps in my undergrad. I did an undergrad in arts and history, and then took my time, very long time, and then worked, and then did a very long time of completing my master's in education, and I did it while I was working, and I've had some bumps along the way, and I'm really grateful for the people that helped me out through those bumps to see the other side of it. Everybody's situation is very different, but there are people around to help you. And the longer a problem festers, the less options that there are. And it's really hard to like walk over and go, I'm not doing so great. It's a very brave thing to do, but we hold your information in confidence. So we need you to know that. And after you graduate, if you're thinking about potentially wanting to know about permanent residency and or job search, whatever trajectory you go in, we're happy to help you out. All right, two more, I'll be super quick. Learning abroad. So we also collaborate with other faculties and campuses around MUN. If you are engaging in a research or study abroad semester, if you are working with your supervisor and you're just going outside of Canada to do something affiliated with your grad program, that's amazing. Our office can help you prepare for that journey. Pre-departure, making sure that you register and have the proper insurances and checks and balances before you go outside of Canada for your MUN-affiliated business. We can share with you study abroad locations, and we can also kind of walk you through some financial opportunities that might help ease the pressure and the stress of going outside Canada. And the next one, this is a really important one for me. So if you are here in this room and you are going to be traveling outside of Canada, on Memorial University business, please fill out the travel registry. MUN Go Abroad, Safety Abroad. It's really important that we know where you're going if you're traveling on MUN business. It doesn't mean that you need to say, you don't need to fill that out if you're going home, if you're going on vacation, if you're doing stuff on your personal time, that's your private information. But if you're going abroad to do something as a part of a grad student, we just want to know where you are, such that if something happens in another region, in a country, in a city, where we need to know, do we have any students there? What's happening? Like, can we just check, make sure everything's okay? It's important that we know that. We don't share that information. That's not given to anybody. Those reports are only run when we are made aware of a geopolitical or a natural disaster or just a concern that's happening in a city or a country where we think we may have students. So just think about that. It takes just like literally maybe not even 30 seconds. And that's it. Join our listserv. Funny enough, the email, we have an email listserv that has been around since like we've been around. And I don't know, it's email. And you're like, email, really? The email, the IO listserv, people still read it, which is great. So if you want to sign up for it and get information, please do. Just email international@mun.ca. Our website, mun.ca/international. And September 26th, so in 3 Fridays, 3 Fridays? Yes, 3 Fridays. We will see you from 2 till 4 over in the Global Learning Center, Burton's Pond Apartments, middle building between 17 and 25. Join us for some food, join us for some games. It's always fun. And there's food. I'm going to say it again, there's going to be food. So drop over. It would be really lovely to see your face, and I hope to see you there. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Grad Studies does an amazing job of taking care of their students, and we work together, but you're in for a lot of great supports and information today. So have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later.
Thank you so much to Lynn. Our next session is the keynote address, which will be delivered by Dr. Amy Warren. Dr. Warren is currently the Associate Vice President, Academic, and Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, also a professor in the Faculty of Business Administration. She has worked at Emory University for 23 years. Dr. Warren conducts and publishes research in the areas of disability, mistreatment, and goal setting. And she has held 2 SSHRC research grants as principal investigator, and currently is a co-investigator SSHRC research grant. Now please welcome Dr. Warren to the stage to deliver a keynote address to our all upcoming students.
Welcome. Some common themes amongst all of our speakers today. So what are some of the common things? I won't repeat them. I'll get you to repeat them because that's what we're supposed to do in a university, right? So what have you heard so far? That's pretty common. Support. Look for it, offer it if you can. There are lots of different places to find support. And the School of Graduate Studies is one of those places. Many of you have met our staff who have been going around with our red shirts on. Before I get started in some more remarks, I do want to say a very genuine and special thank you to Sin for arranging orientation alongside Sin's team members. Cam is in the back, Elizabeth, Krista, Andrew, Shomik is here taking pictures of me right now awkwardly, and he knows that he's going to get into trouble later. So our team at SGS really we value students. This is why we're here. And we're very aware that we're here because you chose to come here. And we try to serve with that kind of value in mind at all times. So please make sure you reach out to SGS. And can we offer a round of applause to the crew for getting it all arranged today? So I was a grad student here many moons ago now. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it is. And I'm wondering for you, I'd like to see sort of who we have in the audience today, but I'd also like you to see for each other who might be in the room. So how many of you are doing a course-based master's program? If you could raise your hand. Everybody look around so you can kind of gauge. Good chunk of course-based masters. How many of you are doing a thesis master's? Ooh, pretty even there. And PhD. Excellent. So a wide variety of degree programs and spanning many different faculties. So how many of you are from Faculty of Education? Engineering, business, science, HSS, humanities, social sciences, medicine, social work. Anyone here from social work? And am I forgetting anyone? Music. Music. Pharmacy. All right. Did I leave anyone out? Anyone not mentioned? HKR, Human Kinetics and Recreation. Anyone else? Ethnomusicology and folklore. Awesome, in HSS, ethnomusicology. So that's amazing. Are you doing your PhD? My master's right now. Awesome, great. So many of you are starting a graduate school journey. Some of you already have graduate degrees. How many of you already have a graduate degree? Wow. What are you doing to yourself? Many people you meet now often have 2 masters or begin a master's and then start their PhD. So in this room, you're with your friends to that end. You might be starting your graduate school journey. It might be day 1, but before you know it, you are trying to plot out what your course will be. And I think there's a couple of items here that overlap with what you've heard, so I'll just brush over them, but I'll give you a couple of anecdotes so that maybe it helps you not feel alone in some of your feelings. So everybody take a breath, and I mean it, like right now, let's take a breath. That makes a difference. I have to tell my 14-year-old to do that every minute I'm around her. No, all the time. What is the thing that makes you feel the most anxious? Just yell it out. Failure. Ooh, you started with a heavy one. Okay. Okay, failure. Judgment. Imposter syndrome, judgment. The unknown. Yep. Isn't it funny though, we're highly educated, already been in academia for your undergrad most likely, maybe your master's already, some of you maybe even PhD already. But yet you all have those feelings. It's human nature. It's part of what makes us who we are. It's a vulnerability that most people share, unless you're really, really good at pressure, unlike me. I felt that way last night going to sleep wondering, what the heck can I say that's gonna be different and new? I've been doing this job for quite some time now, and I wanna always give something new. But what I've learned is the human experience, although much more stressful for certain people than others, depending on the day, time, and the country you may be in at the time, we do still have that commonality. So even if you are living at home with your parents doing a grad degree and you are financially supported, when you feel stressed, that stress feels like stress to you. It doesn't matter that it's a different type of stress. If you are raising your family here and you're a PhD student and you have 3 small kids and you're stressed, absolutely you are stressed. But we do have sort of the tie of not wanting to fail, but also wanting to help people out. And I think that's what you can lean on. So a few lessons I learned was not being afraid to network. I have to get a sip of ginger ale, and you'll get to know me. I drink ginger ale. I get really dry mouthed when I'm nervous. So you see, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I still get nervous. The day I don't get nervous is the day I know I should leave this job, because you're all my employers. I work for you, and that's really sincere. I don't exist without students, and I came onto my journey that way. I began wanting to be in academia just to teach, not because I wanted to be on my high horse and to tell all the things and how to do the things. I was just so enamored with students and how they learned and when they had those light bulb moments. It was almost addictive. It gave me life. And getting to be a part of that and learning from them was something that, to me, it changed my life, and I've never forgotten it. So even though I haven't been a professor for quite a few years, since 2020, I think it was during COVID that I took on the associate dean role, students were my breath, and that's the truth, my heart and everything else, and that hasn't changed. It's just I'm doing a different job. But when I was teaching, I was really lucky that I got a teaching gig before I convocated with my master's. I had actually finished my coursework but hadn't convocated yet. And I got an emergency call that unfortunately 2 professors in business, there were different circumstances where they couldn't be teaching, and it was like this. I was asked to teach 5 courses. And I was a sucker for punishment, and I just thought, wow, I'm never getting this chance again. And of course, I dove right in. Very quickly, my mentors gave me some really bad news. That's how I felt. And they said, if you really like this, you got to do your PhD. And I legitimately hadn't even convocated. And I I won't say what I wanted to say, but I almost wanted to quit. I just couldn't believe I had to think about doing something else. I had just finished my master's. And in those moments, I had to contemplate, do I want to stay in the university environment, or do I want to do something else? All of you are going to be thinking that. There's no direct line. Some of you might plan to be a professor and you're going to get there and it's a little bit straightforward. But others, you're going to think, no way, no how am I doing a PhD? And then in a couple of years' time, you're going to be like, SGS, what PhD suits me? It's just the nature. We learn as we go. Maybe we're suckers for punishment. I know I am sometimes. But I was angry that someone was telling me I had to do more. Very quickly, I decided, fine, I'll apply. But I only applied to one place hoping I wouldn't get in. And that's the truth. That is the truth. I applied to one place in a province that probably is the most like Newfoundland and Labrador, which is Nova Scotia. It's pretty close to us, as close as it gets to the mainland for us is Nova Scotia. And I legitimately was like, I won't get in, and then they can all just leave me alone for a year, and I'll finish this contract and figure it out. I got in. And when the director of the PhD program called me, I told him I had to think about it. I have never in my life told someone who I viewed in a position of authority no. like never. So that's how much I didn't want it. I was like, I have to think about it. And he said, we have a wait list, so I'll give you 24 hours. And I was like, then I was mad at him. But I faked it. I pretended it was okay. I knew not to burn bridges, right? My family is probably who pushed me the most because ironically, they were the reason I didn't really want to move away at that time. So when they pushed me, I did it. But I'm going to tell you now, it took me a lot of time to really come to terms with being away from home. And many of you are away from home and the distance is thousands of miles. And it wasn't that for me, but in that moment, it felt that way for me. So it's a similar feeling. So how many of you were already living in St. John's, Newfoundland before you enrolled as a grad student? Okay. How many of you were living in other provinces in Canada before you enrolled? Okay. And how many of you were living in other countries in the world before you enrolled? So it's no joke. You have all made a tough decision to pick grad school. And this island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is a tough place sometimes, but it also has really good strengths. And community is probably the biggest thing that you'll learn when you're here, inside Memorial, as well as throughout the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And we have a campus in Labrador. So when you hear me say island portion of the province, for those of you who don't know, that's Newfoundland, and Labrador is the big land, a lot of people say, so it's Newfoundland and Labrador, but just to give you a little geography on that. So you want to make sure that as you go through, you be flexible. I had to be flexible, and I accepted to go into a PhD program. I did it, I think, for the right reasons. I very quickly decided that research was actually something I really, really loved, but I just didn't come to research organically that way. I had to learn to love it because I found it very, very difficult. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. So those feelings for me mapped onto the research piece. But I quickly learned that everybody is in a different spot, and that's okay, we can learn from each other. So be flexible with yourself. When I started my PhD, I drilled through it. I had a goal in mind, and generally speaking, I stayed pretty good on that path. But the road to get there was quite rocky for me. It took me a long time to even want to leave home, and I still wanted to come back here. So I was very privileged that I got to come back to my home province. Not everyone gets that privilege, but be flexible. I don't necessarily, I sometimes think about what would have happened if I became a professor somewhere else. So just be flexible. Right now, as you sit there, you probably have this definitive plan. If you don't encounter problems, sure, it might go as you planned, but it's rare that things go perfectly, so just be flexible. Try not to measure yourself against everyone else. That's one thing we haven't really talked about yet. We do this every day. I do it all the time in my job, things I can or can't do, things I'm not strong on. I can tell you not to do that, but I know you're going to do that. So when you have that tendency to say, this person got an A, this person's publishing already, this person's done their proposal, this person's got all their coursework done, they're doing 2 courses, I'm only doing 1, all those things, let it go as soon as it comes into your mind. It gives you nothing. The only thing I would do with that thought, if someone is in your program and you're progressing differently or it looks different, it's really cool to talk to those people to see if there's things you can learn and vice versa. So just don't measure your success against the success of others. It really is a waste of your time. It means nothing, okay? The last point is the most important point of today, besides take care of yourself. If you have any problems, get them resolved sooner than later, even if you don't know what the resolution is. The very nature of a School of Graduate Studies means we are here for you. We have services and programs to help. It can be everything from your own wellness, it can be career supports, it can be you're having financial difficulty, all the things Dr. Brown and Lynn just talked about, we're all doing that, and we all do it in this bubble called Memorial University. You have many places to go. We will all welcome you with open arms, and SGS is that function for you. We would not be here without you. So please, please, if you don't hear anything else today, hear that. If you encounter a problem in a course and you need to know, should you drop it or not, and you don't know who to talk to, come talk to us. We will find an answer that works for your situation. But the later you take something, the much harder it is to undo or to fix or to adjust. There's more issues the further along you go if there's a problem. So please, particularly for those of you who have, real milestones, it's really, really important, not just the flexibility, but if you're doing one of those programs and you're like, year 2, my course should be done, year 3, my proposal should be done, all those things, you might encounter bumps, and those milestones, I still have timelines for you. Make sure you reach out, please, okay? Is that a deal? All right. Couple of things. We have an online Brightspace. Does everyone know what Brightspace is? I'm probably not the best at explaining it, but it's a dooflicky. No, I'm kidding. You can go online to Graduate Commons through the MUN portal. So if you go to the MUN website, log in, and you can select Brightspace. That is a shell where you're going to see some of your courses populated with online materials, but you're also going to see the Graduate Commons. We have developed that program, to include items related to all the things we've talked about today. There's almost nothing missing there. All kinds of toolkits, discussion forums. I know you don't have a lot of time, but if you're looking for a resource on writing, if you're looking for a quick resource on wellness, you can just click on Grad Commons and take a look. And if something sparks your interest and you want more on it, I guarantee you, between Student Life, Internationalization Office, and the School of Graduate Studies, we got you. You'll get what you need. So Graduate Commons is a great place. Can I get to the next one, Sin? Thanks. Our EDGE program. Anyone hear about EDGE? Few people? So Sin also leads this program. Basically, there's over 100 professional development courses or sessions that we offer every year, 100 or more. They're usually in a lunchtime type of slot, but it varies, and they're all available online. There are different experts who go to these sessions to help you out. I do a couple, but we have professors do some, Sin does some, we have external stakeholders do some. Keep a look on our website under EDGE. It lists the schedule. Register. If you don't show up, don't stress, but you can get a certificate for doing a batch of those courses, and guess what that's good for? Your resume. Particularly if you don't have a lot of work experience, that can be a game changer to have professional development, okay? All right. And this is my last slide. I know I mentioned some contacts, and we have one contact that, I don't know if Andrew's in here now. No. Okay, so Elizabeth Sutback, we have Andrew Kim, and this is what Andrew looks like. Andrew, you've likely seen Andrew's name signed on your admission letter. That would have been maybe your first touch point with Andrew. It may have been at the application phase. Andrew's our Director of Enrollment and often is part of your journey throughout your student life cycle, right up till graduation and maybe as you're an alumni. We have Elizabeth Sims. Elizabeth's up in the back with one of our red memorial shirts on. Say hi. Elizabeth is our financial manager and manager of strategic operations, and what that means so many things, and I won't get all of them, but when she leads the team on all the things, when you sign up for payroll, if you get a graduate assistantship, if you get funding from your supervisor, that's the team that Elizabeth leads, and very importantly, leads our scholarships. That includes external and internal scholarships. There's over 400. Elizabeth's going to talk to you a little bit later, but please get to know Elizabeth. Really valuable resource, and if you're in financial difficulty and having trouble, Elizabeth and Elizabeth's team are the ones to go to, and they're located in our office as well. We have Cam. Cam is in the back with the jean jacket on there. Hi, Cam. Cam is one of our managers of enrollment, and Cam is there for advising. It can be academic advising, as well as all of the types of advising on milestones, thesis work, coursework, etc. Cam can also help you guide you in the right direction to the right staff member that's part of our team at SGS. The email on the bottom here is your gateway to us. If you don't remember anything, email sgs@mon.ca. The email will get to the right person, and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. We pride ourselves on getting back to you quickly. If we haven't gotten back to you, it's probably something's gone wrong, because we're known for a quick service, and that's one of our core values, to serve you as best we can. So I'm not going to belabor your day anymore. I know you've heard a lot, and some of the stuff you've heard might have stressed you a little bit versus gave you relief. But I hope by being here at orientation, you can at least make some connections to people in your programs, but also people who aren't in your programs, because the more familiar faces you have, the better you'll feel at every point, at every juncture. Get to know people, get involved if you have the space and time. You don't have to. If you have space and time and you really want to be part of social activities, the student organizations out there are the way to go, as well as volunteering for things in student life, etc. So please get involved if you have the time and if you want to get those social connections right off the bat. If you're slower to the uptake like I was, because my famous line when my husband dropped me to do my PhD in Halifax was, I'm not here to make friends, because I thought I could get it done faster. And guess what? That wasn't a very good attitude. So don't ever say you're not here to make friends. It's going to happen and it's going to be great and it's going to help you get through. So have a better attitude than I had. And I really sincerely welcome you. Thank you for listening to all of us. And I hope your day goes well and get to know each other. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Nextly, we will begin our first information session on academic integrity. The speakers for this session are Erin Alcock and Wendy Rogers. Erin is a science research librarian at the Queen Elizabeth II Library, and Wendy is a humanities research librarian at the Queen Elizabeth Library too. They both have each worked at Memorial University libraries for nearly 20 years and have worked together on academic integrity education since 2017. Now, please welcome Erin and Wendy to deliver a very important session, which is academic integrity.
Thank you, Sin. Can you hear me? Not great with microphones. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. We can't possibly cover everything that we want to tell you in the next 20-odd minutes, but we're going to cover some highlights. I'm Wendy, and this is Erin, just so you can distinguish us. And the first thing we're going to start with is the principles and values of academic integrity. And this is where I get to figure out how the thing works. Yeah, there we are. They are relationality, fairness, responsibility, respect, reciprocity, honesty, trust, and courage. We're not going to go through each value, but we want to highlight especially the value of courage. You need courage when any of those other principles are challenged. Courage allows you to do what you believe to be right, even when the circumstances may be difficult, even when you face unpleasant consequences. So courage means being true to yourself and true to your values, despite feeling some fear about what's going to happen. So most of our time with you today is going to be quizzing you. There is a quiz. The way it works is that we're going to ask a question and we'd like you all to answer at the same time. It's going to be noisy. No, actually it won't be noisy at all, because we're going to do it with hand signals. So, are you familiar with the game rock, paper, scissors? We're not playing that. But you do know this is rock, paper, scissors. Excellent. Because that's how you're going to vote on the answers to our quiz questions. So when we ask you to vote, please put your hand up high and give us your signal, whatever that is. So let's look at the first question, and Erin is going to ask it to you.
Thank you. So the topic of this question is individual and collaborative work, and I will read you the question. Farah has just completed a very hard engineering assignment meant to be done individually. Her friend asked to see how she answered some of the questions. How should Farah respond so that she is demonstrating academic integrity? Rock is Farah should share her answers with her friends only if they promise not to copy her answers. Paper is Farah should describe her answers to her friend without showing them. Scissors is Farah should suggest that her friends talk to the professor or the teaching assistant if they have questions about the assignment. Please raise your hands and vote now. Okay. I would say not completely unanimous, but the vast majority are scissors. And the answer is, in fact, scissors. Farah should suggest that her friends talk to the professor or the teaching assistant if they have questions about the assignment. Okay. So things to remember about collaboration. As graduate students, you will often work collaboratively in a lab group or on a project, but if work is assigned individually in a course, it is meant to be completed individually and not shared. Related to this, when you're working on any kind of collaborative project as a graduate student, you should discuss early in the process who will do what work and how credit will be shared. Different disciplines have different approaches. So find out how your discipline decides the number and order of authors on a publication, or how contributors are acknowledged. Remember that you will get responsible for anything that you put your name on and take credit for. Putting your name on something that you didn't work on or that you aren't knowledgeable about ruins your credibility and diminishes the public trust in academic work.
Next question. When are you allowed to use artificial intelligence generators such as ChatGPT to complete academic assignments? Never. Academic use of ChatGPT or similar text generators would always be considered cheating. Sometimes, if your instructor has asked you to use AI, or if you have sought permission from your instructor to use AI, then it's allowed. Always. AI technology, such as ChatGPT, is just another academic tool, like word processing or citation management software. Let's vote. Very nice. The answer is paper, sometimes. If your instructor has asked you to use it, or if you've sought permission from your instructor to use it. So there's a lot of hype, pardon me, there's a lot of hype about generative AI and a lot of marketing about generative AI. Certainly I, being the age that I am and having the algorithms directed at me that I have, I see a ton of it. And I'm sure that some of you, being younger, are seeing even more of it. So we wanted to balance the hype a little bit. So is it just another productivity tool? No. In our previous example, we mentioned citation management software, word processing software. Gen AI tools are not at all like any of those. Other productivity tools don't make things up and then confidently present them as the truth. They don't guess what you want to hear and try to mirror you. They don't try to persuade you to believe something, but popular generative AI tools have been found to do all of these things. And not all generative AI tools are the same, of course. There are some tools that are trained specifically on academic literature and grounded in academic sources and searches. So some of those can be a bit more dependable than some of the more popular ChatGPT, Gemini Copilot type stuff. It's important to take the time yourself to inform yourself and learn about the different tools and how they work. Are they reliable information sources? Most of them are not reliable information sources. In general, it's not a good idea to use Gen AI tools as information sources for academic work. Why? Well, the information they provide is not static. It's dynamically generated. As academics, you want to draw on the available evidence, and something that you dynamically generate is not available to anybody else. Even if we both ask the same question of the same tool, one after another, we might get very different answers, complete opposite answers, as a matter of fact. And remember, of course, that the research that you do involves taking responsibility. So whatever you are claiming, you are putting your name behind and saying that I have done the work, I have done the research, I am knowledgeable about this subject, and I stand by what I said. And there's nobody to take responsibility for what ChatGPT says. Is it a neutral information source? Unfortunately, as I'm sure you know, it can reproduce all kinds of harmful social stereotypes, political biases, anything that is in the unfiltered training data. And remember, they're not trying to be neutral. They're trying to please you by delivering what you ask for, regardless of the facts. Do they generate good writing? They can sometimes help with aspects of writing, but what it generates tends to look like coherent writing until you actually scratch the surface. It's been described as superficial, repetitive, unfocused, not well thought out, uncreative, and lacking in depth and context. And I'm sure you have seen this in your own travels among Gen AI tools. Are they good teachers? The studies suggest they're not. There are studies, for example, doctors who regularly used AI became less skilled at identifying precancerous growths within months of using the tools. Studies that say that students writing essays with ChatGPT, their brain is not as engaged as it would be if they were using, say, Google sources or no sources at all. They suggest that that makes the brain lazier as time goes on. And lastly, are they environmentally responsible? And it doesn't seem that way, at least not yet. For example, a single query to a Gen AI chatbot is estimated to take at least 10 times more energy, electricity, than a single non-AI Google search.
All right, so things to remember about using generative AI for academic purposes. Get permission from your supervisor or instructor. If you need to use a generative AI tools in your graduate research or coursework, ensure that you discuss your ideas and the tools with your instructors and get permission to use them. It could also be wise to document that conversation or discussion. All instructors at Memorial should include a statement in their course syllabus identifying what kind of assistive tools, such as generative AI, they will allow students to use in their course, so look for that. If you have received permission to use generative AI tools, you need to be transparent about how you've used it. We recommend that you include a narrative statement about what and how you used it, possibly the prompts and the outputs from the generative AI tool, and of course the citations. Consult with your supervisor and follow citation norms that are consistent with your discipline. Be responsible. Confirm facts, check biases. Whether you create something yourself or you ask Gen AI to create it for you, either way, you are ultimately responsible for the academic work that you submit. So if you use generative AI to find information, you have to do your own fact-checking and verify the information through non-AI sources. That includes sources cited by generative AI, because the sources that some popular AI tools cite do not exist. Even if they do exist, the AI tool can misrepresent and misinterpret the information, so locate and read the sources before you use them in your research. Similarly, you need to recognize, question, and overcome possible biases in the outputs. They can include stereotypes related to politics, geography, gender, race, religion, and more. Okay. To improve, surely this is not the first conversation about Gen AI that you're going to have, probably even today, but we have a guide. So to improve your literacy about generative AI tools, check out our Gen AI guide on the library website. The URL is there, but it's easy to find as well on the library website. It includes easy to follow decision trees, a decision tree to help you decide whether you should use Gen AI in your academic work.
Next question. Which of the following is not an example of academic misconduct? Checking the time on your cell phone during a test or exam, submitting a fake medical note to postpone your comprehensive exam, or borrowing 40 library books at the same time? Let's vote. Yes, indeed. You can borrow as many library books as you want. Print ones, online ones, it doesn't matter. Use them. That's why they're there. That's why we buy them. So now that we're talking about academic offenses, here are some of the other ones. Stealing or sharing unauthorized material like tests or exams, copying from a person or aide or letting someone copy from you, and that includes things like using cell phone or talking during a test, submitting the same work for more than one course. That is a kind of thing that graduate students, you end up using similar material because you are developing a specialization. So that is the kind of thing that you're going to want to discuss with your supervisors and your instructors, because I'm guaranteed there will be some overlap in the types of things you're submitting. Lying about or forging records, credentials, medical notes, etc. Impersonating another student to do their exam or their coursework. Submitting work of Gen AI as your own, surprise. Plagiarism, submitting someone else's words or ideas as your own. and failure to follow school, faculty, and university ethics codes. Many of our schools and faculties have their own specific code of ethics, and you will be or become familiar with those if you're just joining a new department.
Okay, another question. If you use an idea from a source text but restate it in your own words, you must include a citation to acknowledge the original source, even though you have presented the idea in your own words. Rock for true, paper for false. Mostly, yeah, all rocks. That's correct, that's right. The answer is true. That's what citation is all about. Great. Okay. Citation is an academic norm and what academic research is built on. And it's a form of empowerment. Citation is a way to empower yourself, your readers, and your sources. How does citation empower you? Your citations show that your work is based on a variety of evidence, situated in the context of current discussions in your discipline, distinct from previous work on the topic, and unique, showing that the choices you made and the hard work you put in to find, evaluate, and use worthwhile sources. Citing also shows that your work is part of Canadian academic culture. In some academic cultures, writers show respect by using other authors' words and ideas without citing them. But in Canada, in Canadian academic culture, we show respect by citing our sources. All that helps you to build credibility within your discipline. How does citing empower your readers? Because of everything I just mentioned, your readers can feel confident that the work is well-researched and well-informed so that they can trust your research. And your citations help them locate your sources and learn more about your topic. How does citing empower your sources? Citing your sources honors the scholars who have helped you. By citing your sources, you give credit to the scholars working on similar topics. You offer gratitude to those who have helped influence and shape your work. You show respect for people who have built the foundation for your participation in the scholarly conversation, and can add nuance to your research by citing diverse and marginalized voices, which is empowering to those scholars whose voices you are highlighting.
Time for another question. You will not be penalized if you commit academic misconduct unintentionally. True? False? Thank you, and we heard a voice, finally, it's been so quiet. Yes, that is false. You aren't, it's not a guarantee that if you commit it unintentionally, you are guaranteed to be penalized, but it will be a discussion and possibly a learning moment for you. But in general, nobody says, oh, it was your first time? Okay, well, we'll let you go with it. It's not like that lucky time when the cop pulls you over and says, okay, I'm just gonna give you a warning this time. Sometimes that happens, but not always. The penalties vary based on the offense, but they may include a letter of reprimand, a reduced grade on an assignment or an exam, a grade of 0 in a course, probation, which is something that goes on your record and stays for a length of time, so that if you committed another infraction, you could be suspended or expelled. Suspension from class for up to 2 years, permanent expulsion from the university, or losing your degree even after graduation.
Okay. Thank you. So the roots of misconduct. A lot of academic research has been done about why some students commit academic misconduct. Life challenges, family, work, finances, physical and mental health are often factors in academic misconduct. But the primary cause is often a gap in knowledge, skills, or support related to academic writing skills, the understanding of plagiarism, organizational and time management skills, awareness about which behaviors are wrong, fear of failure, cheating viewed as easy to do, and the belief, which is not a good belief, that everyone does it, and the peer pressure from friends to do that. If you see yourself in any of the gaps on the slide, remember this: the university community around you is set up to help you be successful. We want you to succeed. Okay. So here are some of the many supports available to help you maintain your academic integrity. We've sorted them into 3 groups, but we'll highlight the academic supports, which are your professors, supervisors, and academic advisors, memorial libraries, the Writing Center, Student Wellness and Counseling Center, and then all of the others in the other columns, of course, you're going to be hearing about through the rest of the orientation. Okay.
We chose a photo of an iceberg because they say that most of an iceberg is actually underwater. So what we've presented this morning is only the tip of the iceberg. What is on the iceberg is the stuff that we've talked to you about already, but we wanted to point out the things below the water that we haven't had a chance to talk about and that we're happy to talk about anytime. Copyright, research data management, information literacy, predatory publishers, research visibility, open access, academic publishing, citation management, and scholarly communications. So if you have questions specifically about academic integrity, you can reach us at that email address. If you have questions about anything else to do with library research, textual research, library resources, anything on this slide, you can reach us at qe2publicservices@mun.ca. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Erin and Wendy. Delivered a very important session on academic integrity. Our next session will focus on health insurance and wellness resources for our graduate student. This session has 2 parts. First, Hashna Naha, the Executive Director of Finance with the Graduate Students Union, will share information on health insurance for graduate students. Now let's welcome Hashna to deliver this session.
Hello, everybody. I know some of you are tired for jet lag, but I hope you'll enjoy this program. And this is the memorable day, actually, for all of us. This day will make a change for our life. Okay, now we are going to share our insurance thing because insurance is very much important here for domestic and also the international. Now, at first, today we talk about the eligibility of the insurance and also how can we opt in, opt out, and where we can contact. Before going to the eligibility, I want to share there is 2 types of insurance. That one is GERD-Me and another one is Green Shield. Green Shield known as a insurance for the graduate student. Most of the international student is automatically member of the GERD-Me. Then and domestic student is automatically member of the Green Shield. For the international student, now this is the important time. If you want to enroll in the Green Shield, then you need to opt out from the GERD-Me. Then maybe you can ask how we can opt it out. Maybe most of the students get an email from the university that is related with the opt-out of GERD-Me. And here, the most important part to opt out, you need to have a MCP. Those students who came, I request you try to apply your MCP as soon as possible so that you can opt it out and enroll in the Green Shield. To enroll in the Green Shield, who is the eligible? The full-time graduate student is eligible to enroll in the Green Shield, not the part-time student. And also the full-time online student can be eligible to get into the Green Shield who is residing inside Canada. But outside Canada, you are not eligible for the Green Shield. Next, get into the opt-in. Opt-in means enroll in the Green Shield that I said previously. The most of the mail we have experienced from the student that how they can opt in and what is the time of opt-in. Normally, the insurance opt-in procedure is started in fall for the entire years. Domestic student is automatically enrolled to the Green Shield when they enroll for the courses. The problem is happening for the international. Then they can enroll when they opt out from the GERD-Me. And another question we have faced that maybe student is opt-on is done by university, then what will happen about the dependent? Then for the dependent, student can also apply manually during a opt-out period. GSU is monitoring these things, and also in the GSU website, starting of each semester, normally in the first month of the semester, this is the window of opt-in of the dependents. So try to don't miss that time, because after that time we cannot opt in the dependent manually. And we also face another situation that for the international student. What's happened? The international student came in fall, maybe they bring their dependent after a few months. Then what will happen with their insurance, how they can get in? Then we suggest them, when arrive your dependent, try to reach out to the GSU immediate after, so that we can process the opt-in of the dependent, because there is the window time. Maybe it's 30 days. After 30 days, if you reach to us, actually we cannot do nothing. And also it is applicable for the children. Someone had a new child birth here, and then reach out immediate after with us, so that we can include the children for the coverage. For the domestic student, most of the domestic student has an alternate insurance coverage normally. Then what happened? Maybe there is an age limit. After age limit, the student cannot be able to get access the parents' insurance. Then they need another insurance. Then I request the domestic student, when you expired your previous insurance, then just reach out with us, so that we can reach to Green Shield, so that you can be opt-in in the Green Shield immediately. This is a special case. This is the exceptional case of opt-in, and it is time sensitive. If you faces any problem, just reach out with GSU, because GSU deals with the graduate students' insurance. And for international students, only the GERD-Me deals by the international office. And that is opt-out. What does it mean by opt-out? Opt-out means you want to get rid of from the Green Shield, because you have another alternative insurance. And this opt-out process is solely monitored by the Green Shield, and that is online. You have to submit the application online during a certain period. Normally, this opt-out and opt-in time is starting of each semester. For this reason, I request all of them, so that you can make a follow-up starting of the semester in the GSU website or the social media page, so that you can get the link and successfully opt out during the time frame, because after the time frame, we cannot do opt-out manually. In opt-out cases, we face a question lot of time, that is, when one student submit the opt-out, they get a mail from the Green Shield that your application is successfully submitted. But it doesn't mean that your application is approved. Most of the students think that, okay, I submit, that is my application is approved. Then we get lots of mail that why we are not getting money reversed. In that case, I will request all of you to follow up your email, because after submitting the application, Green Shield sometimes send email to the student individually to submit further more documents within a certain date. If anyone fails to submit the document within a certain date, then they are not approved the application. And another one problem we face a lot, that is the opt-out eligibility. You are able to submit the application, but this is not assure you that your application is approved. One situation I share with you, then you can understand. Suppose a fall start student can opt out in the fall, but there may be a situation you have another insurance, alternate insurance in winter. Then you wanted to opt out, you submit the application, show your alternate insurance, but your opt-out application will not be approved, because each student who start in his semester, he can opt out in that semester only, or the student need to wait for the next year in that semester. They cannot opt it out in the mid of way. And recently we face a situation I just shared with you so that you can, what's that? Just a minute. Okay. You cannot miss the situation. That is, we face a student who is reside outside Canada, online full-time student, but the student is paying for the insurance, but the student is not eligible, right? But the student is charged. Then what's happened in that case? In that case, each student should be, who is residing outside Canada, online full-time student, they need to submit the proof that they are outside in Canada in each semester to the IO office, so that the student can be in the list of the full-time online outside Canada student list, and they will not be charged. They easily opted out. And the opt-out time is opt-out and opt-in process. This is normally take 4 to 6 weeks after the deadline. For the fall, the opt-in opt-out deadline is September 8 to September 30. So don't miss that time. And if you want to access your coverage, this is the website link of Green Shield. You will get the email from the Green Shield and also from the GSU. And this is the contact address. If anyone need any help, reach out with us. We will try to reply. We will try to respond within 2 days in health and 2 business days in the from our health and dental mail. I hope now maybe you have some questions. Just try to reach out with us. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Hashna, to talk about Green Shield. The insurance will be available to our graduate student. Our next part in this session is talking about wellness services and support provided by our Student Wellness and Counseling Center. And the speaker is Kelly Novel, who is the wellness lead at our SWCC Center. Let's welcome Kelly to introduce the services and support provided by SWCC to our students. Thank you, Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the fun that you've been having and your sessions. So I'm going to try to really do this quick and really well. And of course, again, we can't tell you everything we'd like to as well, but I am going to try my best. As I was sitting there, I realized I didn't put an email on my slides so that you can later send us an email if you have questions. So that would be the swccwellness@mon.ca email. So throughout your grad studies here, I want you to think about when are you well and when are you not? So asking yourself about, are you coping with stress, regulating your emotions? Are you feeling good about your daily life and what you're doing? And are you able to focus and do your work and study well? So enjoying movement, whatever that means or looks like to you, and nourishing your body. So when you're not well, these are some of the things you might see. And of course, it looks different for everyone. So having overwhelming negative emotions, having nervous thoughts, worrying about, which is normal to an extent, about upcoming assignments that are due, presentations, etc. So difficulty coping with stress, frequent mood swings from happy to sad, maybe to angry, irregular sleeping patterns. We do know that goes along with academic studying, but as grad studies when you're doing those, and I've been here 20-some years ago. I know that's really dating myself, and I shouldn't say, and I was older too when I did my grad studies, but anyway, than a lot of you that are here today. So making sure that you're sleeping well, getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night, and not engaging in any movement whatsoever, and quick and unsatisfying nutrition, fast food, drive-thrus, things like that. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about how you can, or where you can go for resources for your health, mental health, and well-being. So first of all, identifying your stressors, enjoying movement, eating healthy and sleep, taking time out for family and friends, and whatever that looks like for you. It could be enjoying movie night, going to have a game of pickleball, things like that, or doing a potluck with your family or your friends, using problem solving and coming up with some solutions with what you're going through. Learning calming techniques or mindfulness, positive thinking versus engaging in negative thinking. Self-care is a really, really big thing. And the other thing, of course, is asking for help when you need it. So these are the health services that we offer with our physicians that we have. Assessments for common medical problems, medical certificates, mental health assessments, and physicals, and everything else in between. And we do have the quick fix walk-in clinics. You can find that, the times and days, on our website. Our nurses, we have immunizations and TB skin testing, pap test testing for STIs, reproductive and sexual health counseling, injury and allergy shots, and for the counseling area, we have registered psychologists and our wellness navigators who make appointments. You can go through the portal on our webpage to request a counseling appointment. We have supervised doctoral residents, grad students, who provide short-term therapy for currently registered students. So with our wellness programming, we offer the health promotion, prevention, and interventions. For example, training such as Safe Talk and Assist, which is the applied suicide intervention skills training and the mental health first aid training. So if you would like to take any of those programs and receive a certification, you can email the SWCC Wellness email. So we do have the weekly Oasis, and I have to show you my representation that I brought with me today, and we're gonna display it at our weekly Oasis. So it is brand new, but it makes me really think of Oasis area. So when you come to the Oasis, you will see plant therapy, puppy therapy, popcorn therapy, all kinds of therapy. We oftentimes have peer helpers there as well, I'll put that this way, who, I don't have a way to, anyway, there we go. So, who can have conversations with informally. We have different campaigns. This is in weekly basis from 10 to 2 every Thursday on the 3rd floor of the UC, either in the open space or the landing. So we'd like to see you join us. We have snacks every week as well. Mostly healthy snacks, but some not so. There might be some candy sometimes, or Smarties or M&Ms maybe. So other things that we're going to be doing this fall is Thrive, which is a week-long jam-packed activity, engaging based mental health and well-being week. Maybe yoga with kittens, we'd like to have goats, but I don't think that's going to pan out. But mindfulness, resource fair, all kinds of things. And of course, opportunities to win prizes. So we're also going to do Mindful Mondays, which is an activity-based mindfulness group every Monday. And we do social gaming group, which is board games. It could be gaming, and we have all kinds of game systems if you're interested in joining that group. And again, you can email the SWCC Wellness email for any of the information. So the community-based services that are available to you 24/7 is a mental health and addictions crisis line. You can call 811 to speak with a registered nurse trained in crisis interventions in mental health and substance use, and as well for physical health. And to reach the mobile crisis response team, you also would call 811. And that is the team who would come out. Usually there's an RNC officer, a social worker, registered nurse on this team, and they would come out and meet with you if you're having a mental health substance use problem. For help with suicide crisis or for a friend, you can call or text 988. And there's also walk-in psychiatric support 24 hours at the new mental health and addictions facility just across the street. So on our website, you'll see how to book and cancel an appointment. Please cancel your appointments as soon as you can in advance if you need to, or they may charge you for it, unfortunately. You can request counseling as well through our portal, as I said a few minutes ago. After hours services are there, such as what's on those sheets with the QR codes. There's a guide to responding and recognizing students in distress. So that could be looking at it for yourself or for a friend. So the little cards that are going to be handed out now, and it is a part of Guard Me that was just talked about. So this program is a wellness and well-being student support program, and you can have 24/7 counseling services available to you anywhere you are in the world. So on that, you can scan the QR code and download it. You can do it as well here on the slide above me. So there's all kinds of important information and helpful self-help, but as well getting in touch with someone through this program that you could receive assistance and support from, including counseling. So there's 60+ languages, and it is confidential, and lots of mental health resources and learning modules within this program. But as well, we also have a provincial program that's available to everyone in the province. It's called Bridge the Gap, and you will find that on on our website, and on their website, a lot of information similar to what's on the Guard Me student support programming. But of course, this is within our province. But it does as well have Bridge the Gap in other provinces within Canada. So we have an on-campus peer supporter program as well called MUN Minds, or Memorial Minds. And they're located on the 2nd floor if you would ever like to avail of their support. They're peer supporters. And the community peer support program that's in the community, you can talk to them virtually or through texting. So LifeWise is their name, the warm line, and you can check out their information on their website. So there's our contact information, the telephone number, which I don't recommend calling because it's really, really difficult to get through. There's thousands of calls per month, and quite a few are not answered, unfortunately. And our website is there for you to avail of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly, to talk about the services and support provided by SWCC. So our next session will talk about surviving and thriving in graduate school. We have invited Dr. Danny Dyer to deliver this session. Dr. Dyer is currently the deputy head in graduate in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics. And he enjoys teaching and trying to do things to encourage his students' learning. And also he received the President Award for the distinguished teaching in 2016. So yeah, now let's welcome Dr. Dyer to give you some strategies to survive in your graduate school. Thank you.
So folks, as mentioned, my name is Dr. Danny Dyer. This is me on strike a couple of years ago. Hopefully that won't happen while you guys are here. Of course, as an academic, I have gone through what you guys are, perhaps embarking on now. So this is just to let you know where I come from, right? I started off as a grad student in Canada, but on the West Coast. It was a big move for me. I finished in 2004, and then I started at MUN in 2005, right? You tell people that these days, and they bust out laughing because there's often a longer postgraduate experience these days, right? But so be it. This is where I came from. I've supervised a bunch of graduate students, and I'm currently supervising a bunch, right? So it's an ongoing process for me. It means I deal with graduate students a lot just in my own academic career. So people come at these things from a bunch of different directions. So I've sort of broken it down a little bit further. The PhD students, one is full-time, one is a part-time PhD student. It's going to take certainly much longer than normal. I have one master student who's around like halfway through, and there's 4 incoming master students that I'm involved with to different degrees, right? So I have a lot of experience dealing with graduate students and issues, and this is not just sort of like ivory tower, blow and smoke. A lot of this is practical experience of things that I think work or don't work. I got a whole bunch more experience since I started to be the deputy head graduate. So I deal with like all the graduate students in our department. It was around 90, I think now it's around 70, right? So it keeps me busy, but I deal with all kinds of weird stuff. So as with everything, take it with a grain of salt, right? It's advice, it's unsolicited advice, right? And anytime someone gives you unsolicited advice, it sounds a lot like criticism. So it's not meant to be, but it comes from a good place, is what I will say. Something I think is really critical to being able to survive is figuring out what expectations are. But the thing is, you're dealing with a whole bunch of different expectations, right? Like the obvious one is yours. And maybe you are a bright, new, shiny student. You've just finished doing like a bachelor's degree and whammo, you're ready to start to be a master's student, right? And you expect things. Maybe you've been out kicked around in the world for a while and decided to come back and do something, right? Maybe you've done like totally different degrees in totally different areas and now you're back doing something new again, right? I mean, who knows? But you have expectations, but they're not the only ones, right? Definitely, your department is going to have expectations, right? In our department, big chunks of funding cut off after the allotted time and program. So our expectation is students will finish on time, right? Now your supervisor may have really definite expectations. Supervisor is taking on a master's student or a PhD student. I mean, I expect my PhD students to do 2.5 papers, right? That's what PhD thesis is in my mind, it's 2.5 papers. It's really concrete, right? You should have 2 papers basically submitted, and you should be working on the 3rd PhD thesis. But like every supervisor is going to have a different expectation, you know? Now the supervisor should not expect you to go wash their car, right? Like that's not acceptable. But they may have, like, you know, how much time are you going to spend in the lab? Are you going to be available for me to send you an email on the weekend, right? You have to sort of figure out what people's expectations are. Now, your bosses, the reason I say bosses is because an awful lot of funding packages involve doing some kind of work for the university, some kind of research assistantship or teaching assistantship. And that could be for your supervisor, but it's often for someone else. You might just get employed in a lab, being a lab assistant when students are, you know, running through a lab. Who knows? But that person is going to have expectations, right? So in all of these cases, you need to stop and figure out what you have to do to meet these expectations, or sometimes to modify these expectations, because oftentimes there's room for some discussion. One of the hardest ones is MUN's expectations. And oftentimes there's things that we just cannot control, right? Like there is a calendar, and inside the university calendar, it sets out what is required for every single degree. In a very simple way, that is an expectation that MUN expects you to meet by accepting you into this program. So spend some time now, early on, figuring out what those expectations are, and it's not even a bad idea to literally set them, right? To send an email to someone and say, we had a nice chat today. You said I would have to do this. Is that right? That's my 2 cents. Now, obviously, as a graduate student, almost all graduate programs have some kind of coursework involved. It's not necessarily, I mean, the amount varies. And for us with PhD students, only 2 courses. Easy. Course-based masters, 6 courses. Ugh, right? So many courses, right? However many it is, though, you've got to pass them, right? So how can you best prepare to do courses? Well, I mean, a lot of you folks have shown you are excellent at doing courses. So in some ways, people often find the coursework the easiest possible thing that they have to circumvent in a new degree. But depending on where you come from, maybe expectations are different. So certainly, for my students, if we have class, I expect you to be on time and be ready. That could mean having your homework done, it could mean having a reading done, it could mean, you know, watching a movie, I don't know, whatever it is. Homework, actually do it, right? Like we really expect you to do it. Some professors are, you know, easy, breezy. Hey, you want to hand it in a little bit late? No problem. Some profs are hard asses. It's due at this time, and if you do not have it done, you're going to get 0, right? What's important is doing it and meeting the expectations of the course instructor. Now, personally, in mathematics, it is so much better to start something early and move on. Give yourself time to think about it, let things percolate. You know, you can be in the shower washing your hair and say, how do I do number 3, you know? That's critical time, right? You need time to let things sort of ferment and get ready. So give yourself that time. Start things early. Maybe you were used to, as an undergraduate, being able to very quickly finish things like the night before. That becomes less and less possible as time goes on. In my experience, most things take longer than you think. This is particularly true when you have, you know, last-minute assignments. Especially true, I will say, in first semester university, because you're not used to dealing with the altered time flow of graduate school. It is very useful to know the university calendar. You know, when are you allowed to do things and when are you not? And I will say that the unfortunate truth of it is that the easiest way to finish graduate school is to flunk out in your first semester, right? To just not do well in the courses and not be able to go on, right? The university sets a fairly high bar for our graduate continuation, right? 65% is the minimum that's considered a pass in graduate school. That's a lot higher than 50%. Now you guys are, in general, like, you know, high achievers. You're used to sort of sitting, you know, getting A's. But stuff gets hard. And if my own graduate school was anything to go by, at some point you're going to feel like an idiot in graduate school. right? And I think that's quite normal, right? Like you're gonna feel overwhelmed and surprised and like this is too much and everyone here is smarter than me. I totally felt like that in graduate school. You know, I'm Dr. Dyer now though, right? So I got out the other side of it, right? But it doesn't mean you don't feel like it sometimes. So coursework, in some ways, is the easiest thing you can do. Pay attention to it though, you need to. So the thing that seems to make or break most graduate degrees, in my department at least, is the relationship with the supervisor, right? Like this supervisor has to do so much in your day-to-day life, right? Now, you know, you do not need to be best friends with your supervisor, right? Like that's not a critical or important thing. I do not need to know anything about your personal life if I'm going to supervise you. It does not necessarily mean that I'm disinterested, right? That I don't care what happens, right? But oftentimes it means that I will not ask you things. And that's because I think there's a power imbalance in our relationship. And if there's a power imbalance in our relationship, my question may seem like a command. And I don't like to do that, right? Now, that being said, your supervisor is the one who knows the ropes. They know how to get through graduate school. They know your discipline and they know what to do. So when it comes to advice and mentorship, they are the #1 natural person to talk to. What should I do next? What should I be doing now? Now, they're definitely, almost certainly going to be a research partner, and they're an expert in their field. So like, you know, there was so many times when I went to my supervisor, and, you know, at first I was afraid to admit I didn't know how to do certain things. It was never a big deal. My supervisor had a very casual way about him. I said, oh, you just do this. Oh, look, he got a blackboard and he would sketch out some idea to me. And it was like, oh. And the thing I learned as I went on was that he was willing to tell me things I didn't know. And he assumed there would be things that I would not know. And he was quite happy to fill in those gaps, right? So this person is an expert, knows how to do these things. Now, sometimes, and this is something that's really hard for people to adapt to, your supervisor will have a method, right? Now, like, you know, the more gray that shows up in the hair, you know, maybe the more set in their ways that they are. But the reason they're a successful academic who's been able to take you on as a graduate student is because they have a way of doing things. And the way seems to work. So even if this is not the way you want to do things, it is generally worth thinking about whether you can do it. Now, you know, some people get very set and they want to use certain tools and not other tools and so on. Well, sometimes you're stuck with that. And my suggestion is to embrace what you can from your supervisor's method and do not try to insist that things have to happen your way. Because right now, you folks are the unknown quantity. And they've got, you know, a track record. The big thing I will say is, if this relationship goes well and you have trouble with any other aspect of university, the thing that your supervisor should be is your champion. Like, if you have a problem with another prof, your supervisor should be the one who is showing up saying, hey, this is not fair. This is, you know, they're the one to stick up for you, right? That is their job, right? If you are being, you know, considered for some scholarship or award, your supervisor is the one who should be writing the reference letter saying, man, this person is great, right? They are there to be a champion for you. And so when you do have problems, your supervisor can sometimes be a bulldozer that is going to help knock those problems out of the way. Now, they have to know they exist, so you have to talk about them. But man, this is the supervisors at their best. They're there to make your life easier and better. And sometimes, even though, you know, MUN has expectations, sometimes the professor will know what's really important and what's not really important. And sometimes there really is a fundamental difference between these things, even in written regulation. So, you know, the other side of this is sometimes this relationship goes awry, right? And maybe you don't get on with your supervisor, right? Now, that's okay. Like, that can happen, right? Now, If it just happens that you sort of don't like each other, you can still have a professional working relationship with lots of people. I mean, I'm in an institution that hires people for life, right? Tenured professors, right? I'm stuck with these guys for the next 20, 30 years, right? I have colleagues that I do not like. But just because I do not like them doesn't mean I don't necessarily work with them, right? Now, that being said, sometimes it is because people's expectations are different. Right? What you expect versus what your supervisor expects will be different. And sometimes that comes down to even to an ability level. You know, either your supervisor will want something from you that you cannot do, or vice versa. You want something from the supervisor that they cannot do. I don't meet with my students on weekends. I just don't do it. I don't read emails if I can get away with it. You know, and if you are expecting something critical from me to happen on a weekend, maybe my answer is probably going to be no. Well, my answer is probably going to be nothing, because I won't even see it till Monday, right? But it's a simple thing about what expectations are and how you deal with them. So I do think that if you try to communicate, sometimes these things can be ironed out, right? And they can be fixed. These are often not insurmountable, but it is extremely good to learn how to work with this person. Now, I will say, if it does happen that this really seems impossible, you do have things that you can sort of fall back on. First off, generally you'll have supervisory committees. Those are other faculty members who can sort of be like ombudsmen or intervene, sometimes referees. I've been that person. I think I mentioned guardian angels earlier. I've been a sort of a guardian angel. I've been a supervisor in a room. I've been a non-supervisor in a room where a supervisor and a graduate student meet to discuss a problem. Right? And that's just to keep things civil. Like when there's an audience, things are calmer sometimes, you know? Certainly, the graduate officer in your department, you know, someone like me, is there for exactly that kind of reason. And of course, you know, the big guns, right? The School of Graduate Studies, the people who have sort of organized all this today, right? They can get involved and try to sort of mediate some of these things as well. So generally listen to your supervisor, you know, don't wash their car. Now, you know, besides coursework, besides research with the supervisor, what can you do? Well, I mean, you have this like TA job. Well, you know, it's a job. And just because we have, you know, frankly, bloated, inflated hourly wages, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, and, you know, we don't think it's necessarily as important as, you know, the research job. The person who's your boss on that job, they do think it's important, and it is their life, and they do want it to run well. So, show up on time. You know, prepare beforehand. When you have a boss and you have some kind of issue, talk to them about it. Talk to your coworkers, right? Maybe there's going to be a need for things to go back and forth. Am I in trouble, Jean? Do you need to get, am I getting a big hook? Are you pulling me out of here? No? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. And once again, when it comes to your job, know what's expected of you, right? If you are supposed to work in there, and if you're a TA in a help center, and you're supposed to do an hour, you know, maybe they really mean an hour. They don't mean 50 minutes, right? But like a tutorial, hey, when we run tutorials in our math department, they run just like classes do. They're on a 50-minute hour, so they know what's expected. If you have to do some marking, when does the prof expect the marking to be back? Right? Can you ignore this for 3 days and just do it at the last? Or do you, like, are they expecting this back tomorrow? Right? Like, largely, these are things that there's a great spectrum of availability or lack of availability, but you have to know what's expected of you if you're going to meet people's expectations. So talk about these things. Find out what those expectations are. And this is one that, I mean, sometimes people think mathematics doesn't pay any attention to like the human being. I mean, now that is a load of crap, right? I mean, we are all human beings and deserving of, you know, respect and dignity, right? Now, something that you have to do though, is you have to pay attention to that, to yourself. And that's why I think you really need to build a support network, right? So fundamentally, you know, fundamentally, this is the start of some sort of new endeavor, right? You're doing something different than it was before. That's why you're here. And some of you are here from, the other side of town, right? You just finished a undergrad degree at MUN and now you're starting up here again. Some of you are from the other side of the world, right? We have students that come to our department from everywhere. So sometime over the next couple of years, you will be homesick or tired or lonely or sad, right? Maybe you feel that way now. I do not know. But that's real. Like how you feel is real. You may stop and say there's no need for this. That could be true. But you still feel like that, right? And so the ridiculous thing is not to admit it and not to sort of owe up to it. So once you do, you want to build the kind of structure you had wherever you were before again, right? It's not nice to hang out with strangers that you don't know anything about all the time. So like talk to people in your classes. Try to make some friends there, right? Perhaps you can gain support from your supervisors, other students, right? Like I have a gaggle of graduate students now, right? I don't know what the collective noun is for a bunch of graduate students, but gaggle feels like it works, right? And so like I run group meetings where I sort of, in some sense, force them to talk to each other, right? I also, do a bit more social things with my graduate students to give them the opportunity to see each other in non-academic settings. Now, wherever you're going to find these things, there are lots of clubs. There are the International Advisory Office. There's international student societies here. So if you're looking for connections from home, if that will make you feel less homesick or less lonely, look for those connections. Make them, right? Maybe if religion is part of your life, find a local church or temple or mosque, whatever works, right? Maybe you are not a religious person, but maybe you love football. I mean, I didn't even say soccer, right? That's how much I'm trying to reach out to people, right? So, find some other people who are interested in playing football, right? Maybe you like to collect stamps, right? Maybe you read comic books. I don't know. But whatever you do, look for other people with the same interests and hang out with them. Connection is really, really useful. And of course, like here's the most controversial thing at the very bottom, right? Sometimes you can even take time off, right? I mean, admittedly, like I hire my students, it's a full-time commitment, right? Like it's an annual salary, right? Like it's every semester, fall, winter, summer. But I do expect them to go and, do other things with their lives. And if they stop and tell me, oh, I need to take a week off, hey, yeah, sure, go take a week off. I encourage them to take some time off, right? I mean, maybe you're here in Newfoundland for the first time. Why wouldn't you stop and go and get in the car and drive around and see some of the sights? It's a beautiful place. I love it here, right? I'm from here and I'm back here. This is exactly where I want to be. I think you should see it and see why it's a nice place to be here. So, now that being said, all these things come with sort of caveats, right? Like if you love cricket and man, you're going to stay up all night to watch the cricket test matches because they're on 4 o'clock in the morning local time, hey, so be it, right? But, make sure you can, meet other people's expectations when you do these things, right? If you are going to take some time off, it's much better to talk with your supervisor about when that could be a good time to do it. Middle of the semester, well, and you're supposed to be doing TA and research and courses, bad time, right? Between semesters, maybe there's reasonable, mutually agreeable times you can take some time to do this stuff, right? So, that being said, however you're going to do it, find some people to talk to, right? It'll make your life richer and it'll make your life better. So, up until now, all this stuff has been absolute minimums as far as I'm concerned. This is what you need to do to be able to survive. I'm not saying this is going to make you an excellent graduate student, right? But the other half of this was thriving. So, let's talk about it a little bit, right? The thing I found hardest to do when I was a graduate student was admit my own ignorance. I did not do it well for a long time. I got a master's degree without really learning how to ask questions, but I never would have gotten my PhD without learning how to do it, right? I would go to a colloquium or seminar, I would not understand it, I would be lost after the first 2 or 3 slides, and I would just sit there and not say anything. And over time, my PhD, I sort of blossomed, and I realized that if I asked questions, people would answer them, right? They would not stop and think that there was a major problem. They would be happy to clarify. Because you got to remember, in almost all the seminars and colloquia and things that are going to be in your subject area, you're listening to people who love this topic. And presumably it's the same love that you have as well. It's why you're doing it. And they love to talk about it. It's why they're given this seminar or colloquium in the first place, right? So once I started to ask questions, people started to answer them. And it's made my life way better as a result, right? It's the same thing I try to do with my own graduate students. I try to sort of trick them into asking me questions when we have group meetings. Now I build it up, right? I do it in group meetings where things are very friendly and very easygoing, with the hope being that they can take that same behavior and then do it in courses, or they can do it when they go knock on a prof's door and ask some questions. Because whether you're struggling with research or coursework or what you're supposed to do for your job, if you ask questions, people will tell you what you're supposed to do, right? But oftentimes you have to do that first step. Otherwise, it's assumed you know what you're doing. So, things are going to change, right? Now, I'm really bad with change, right? Like my wife and I argue when she decides she wants to rearrange furniture in a room, right? And I get really set, like this is the way my life is. This is the way I like things to be. But this is gonna be time for big changes, right? Like master's, PhD, things are gonna be different. Right? Even going from a master's to a PhD, things are going to be different. So I'm not saying that you cannot have any control over your life, but I am saying that some things are going to fundamentally change. You're going to be in situations where you do not have the power to fix things the way you want to. And sometimes you have to accept that things are going to be a way that you would prefer they are not, or that you think is suboptimal, right? That's just it. Right? I mean, you guys have already started to embrace the, ongoing rolling bureaucracy of a university. Man, oh man, it is hard to get a university to do anything different, right? And so there are professors who have spent their entire careers trying to nudge the machine in one direction or another, right? So if the university expects you to do something you do not like, you may have to accept that. It may just be the way it is. Embrace it. Sometimes change can be very, very good. I was talking to a supervisor today. One of his students is taking a bit longer than normal. And we were talking about, how's the research going? Like, this person is sort of over time, but is it still progressing? And the supervisor said, yeah, it's all progressing, but he hasn't started to write the thesis yet. And I did everything I could to make sure my eyes didn't roll up in my head, right? So I really, really believe like it doesn't exist until it's written down. So you can have as many conversations as you like with your supervisor. You can tell people your great idea. You can have a breakthrough, fantastic. But until it's written down, it doesn't really exist. Now, maybe this is flavored by me as a mathematician, right? But I don't really think so. Right? I think this sort of works on a lot of different levels. Now, as a mathematician, sometimes it isn't until we go to write things down that we realize our truth is not true, right? Because I do deal in a realm of absolute truth, right? Most people do not get the option to be able to say such a thing, right? I'm a lucky man. But when you have an idea and you tell someone and they're interested and it sparks a conversation, you say, this is really something. Write it down. Now, I write things down on random scraps of paper when I was a graduate student, right? And I would say, that's good, I got that written down now. And then, of course, I would lose the scraps of paper, right? So the beginning step is to write it down. The second step is write it down someplace permanent. Maybe you're going to keep a journal or something like that, right? You have a log book, you have whatever, Write it down. Until it exists there, it doesn't exist. That's a good start, but it's often still rough if you're writing it down by hand. So, take the next step, right? Like the next step is to type it. And once it's typed, oh, hey, it's a lot more formal, right? Like now, I'm a LaTeX guy myself. It means nothing to half of you here, but that's fine. But maybe you're using Word, maybe you're using a Google Doc or something crazy. Maybe you're using Notepad on your phone. I don't care, right? But once it's typed in, it's got a much bigger existence. And in fact, the ultimate goal is often to write a thesis. So until it's written down in that thesis, it doesn't fully exist. One of the big metrics of how we stack up as academics these days is, have you published a paper? Have you given a talk? Right? These are tangible things. So write it down, right? Every single time you get one step further to the publication, to the thesis, to the whatever, it's to the good. It means you don't have to do it again. Life is better. So I think you should write it all down. So this is a screenshot of MUN's scholarship award database. Apply for things, right? Maybe there's a little voice in your head where you stop and say, I don't know if I'm good enough to apply for this thing. Well, you got to learn to choke that voice down, right? Because, let the rest of the world tell you you're not good enough to do something, but don't believe it yourself, right? So apply for everything you can. One of my only real regrets as a graduate student is I didn't apply for more stuff, right? It's also my big regret as an early career academic. I should have been applying for more stuff than I did. I was doing okay. I wasn't upset. I had a grant. Why didn't I apply for another grant, a bigger grant, something different? Why didn't I go to try to work with someone? Why didn't I stop and send someone a letter? Why didn't I try to go get this internship someplace? And I think you should. Now again, supervisors can often be big champions for these things. They can let you know what's even available, because at first you don't even know where to look for these things. But if you don't apply, you're definitely not going to get it, right? If you do, the possibility is there, right? Apply. Now, again, I mentioned I think we're all fundamentally human beings and deserving of dignity and respect. I think we are obliged to be nice. People will like you a lot more if you are nice than if you are not, right? So I think if you want to do well, you will do better being nice than you will do otherwise, right? Hey, it's true. It's much better with me saying this with a smile here, right? Now, the other side of this is that sometimes you will have options, right? And I strongly recommend not working with assholes, right? There are people who are not nice. There are people who will not treat you well. Don't work with them, right? Now, I don't know if it's because there's going to be a whisper network, or you talk to your supervisor, or whatever. Maybe it's because you have a nasty run-in with someone. But if you have the option, do not work with assholes. And so the corollary is, do not let your friends work with assholes either, right? I do not need to go and sort of slander my colleagues, but when I have a graduate student who's thinking of applying for graduate school to certain places, I would say, I wouldn't apply there. I wouldn't apply to work with that person. I think you'll have a hard time with that person. That's a way for me to communicate this without being a sort of a nasty person in return, right? Now, at a conference, after I've had a couple of drinks in the bar that night, I'll tell you all the gossip, right? All the reasons, right? But life is too short. And if you have to spend a lot of your time working with someone who's extremely negative or nasty for no reason, that doesn't help you. So avoid it. So this is what some small things I think you can do to thrive. Obviously, I'll make a copy of these things available if anyone wants to actually have a copy of them. I know some of you were taking pictures as you went through. You can always send me an email if you need to, and certainly Jean and the rest of the grad studies folks can put you in contact if you need to. Thanks very much.
So nextly, let's welcome Elizabeth Sims, who is the Manager of Planning and Strategic Operations at SGS. So Elizabeth will introduce some information and resources about the graduate funding.
So this is our financial team from SGS. And I put their names there because you're going to be talking to them, maybe some of you, throughout the duration of your program. Katrina takes care of everything fellowship, funding, and scholarships. Chris does payroll. Tammy is our scholarships officer. And Josephine supports everybody else. And then I've got Krista and Catrell. They do everything at SGS. So I just wanted to mention their names, and that's not everybody, but that's who works with my team at SGS. And of course, I'm Elizabeth. Funding opportunities, fellowship support. If you are doing your thesis-based master's, you're doing PhD, you may have fellowship support. And so if you are, that's coming from SGS. If you have any questions about your funding, you can drop by, talk to us. For those who are doing masters, want to go on to their PhD, there's an opportunity to get fellowship support as well. Departmental support comes from your department, so it's your supervisor funding for those who are doing thesis-based programs, and you talk to your department about that, and that should have been on your program of study. Graduate assistantships. We have a website where there's opportunities posted every semester. You may have some opportunities with your program as well as part of your program of study. And then there's always opportunities posted throughout the semester. So you can check out our website, okay? And they could be like teaching assistants, research assistants, and so on. Grad SWEP and grad internships. We currently have a grad SWEP program. It gives you an opportunity to get more real world experience. It's actually sort of transitioning now into a grad internship program that Zin is actually running, where we're partnering with companies, external companies, to give longer internships to master's and PhD students. And it's a new program, so it's growing. And I think we've had about 40 opportunities so far, and we'll continue to grow throughout the next few semesters. So if you have any questions about the graduate internships, Zin is the one to talk to. Scholarships and bursaries. So when you talk about funding, I know everybody's looking for your unlimited budget. So there's always opportunities, lots of scholarships. I think Amy mentioned it this morning. We have over 400 internal scholarships, and there's also external scholarships that you may be eligible for. And then there's tri-agency scholarships, so Canada Graduate Research Scholarships for doctorals and for masters. If you have any questions about scholarships in general, we have a scholarship database that's on our website, so you can just type scholarship database on the MUM website and you'll find it. Or you can email gradawards@mun.ca. Most of our internal awards are semesterized. So we have a deadline coming up now, the 18th of September, and then again in November. And then we also have some departments. So in your departments, I would check with your admins and your GOs, your grad officers, to see what they have available, because we have just departmental specific awards as well. Tuition and fees. I'm just going to quickly mention this because what we get a lot throughout the year is that, or throughout people's program, is that they don't understand their tuition. Okay, there's a minimum expense form that outlines your tuition that's owing. You have a payment plan as well that you've opted into. So I think it's really important for you to understand it, and if you don't, come talk to us, because you don't want to be at the end of your term or at the end of your midway through your program and you don't understand how much you actually have to pay for your tuition. And you have to pay for your full program. So if you finish early, which is great, you still owe your tuition based on your payment plan. So if you have a 6-semester payment plan and you finish in 4, you still owe those 2 semesters for tuition, okay? So just a couple of things that we get asked a lot. For special fees, some of the programs, competitive programs, have special fees. They have to be paid, some upfront, some throughout the duration of your program, some in the first 2 semesters. You need to understand when they need to be paid. And so I'll just note that. And if you have any questions at all, Amy mentioned before, don't wait until the end of the term. Come talk to us now, because you do not want to be in a situation where you're trying to register at the end of the semester in November and you can't get your courses because you owe money on your account, okay? We'll help you, but it's going to be more difficult for us to help you when you're in that situation. And know your timelines, so I just kind of talked about that. And payroll deductions, if you have a graduate assistantship or fellowship funding, I highly recommend that you sign up for payroll deductions. I think it's the 25th of September that you have a deadline for this semester, and you have to sign up every semester. These are some important dates. Just noting, lectures begin. You know they begin, but your tuition and fees are owing for the semester. If you don't pay them on time, it's a $30 late fee, okay? So you can opt to be charged the $30 and pay throughout the semester, but you just have to know that before you register on the 24th of November, especially for course-based students, you have to have your tuition and fees paid for your semester, or you won't be able to register. So I know I'm bringing some just tidbits of information that we get a lot of questions about throughout the semester. I've got the payroll deductions, and I just stuck in the fall break because I thought that was important to know. So just take care of yourself. For any graduate students, check in with your department. If you're getting paid funding, make sure you've got the documents you need to be set up on payroll. So your study permits, and eventually your SIN, and then your banking information. Stay connected. I'm not going to speak to all this stuff because people have already talked about it, but stay on top of your budget and plan. And you may just sit there and think that, it's not a big deal. It's so important because we deal with students, Andrew and I, on a regular basis who are in a situation at the end of a term, can't register, don't have the funds to pay for the rest of their tuition, and in some cases struggle to complete their program. So I think, it's really important to understand how much tuition you owe and plan for it ahead of time. So if you have any questions at all, that's what our team is here for, to help you figure out that plan, to understand your tuition. So you can reach out to me directly, elizabeth.sims@mun.ca, sgs@mun.ca, and we're here to help. So anything at all. Okay? All right. Good luck.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now it's my turn to talk about graduate career support available to our graduate students. I know Dr. Jennifer Brown has already introduced the Career Development Office, a part of a student's life. They have a few career advisors in her office. And also I am the Career and Employer Relations Coordinator in the School of Graduate Studies. As Elizabeth just mentioned, we have a new graduate internship pilot program, which has started this year. In every semester, we work collaboratively with our local employers in various professional programs to provide our students some internship part-time opportunities. And also, as Elizabeth mentioned, we also have some other part-time work opportunities like grad swap and SWAP, which are for students' parents. And also in every semester, we may have some graduate assistantship opportunities too. I just put my contact information there. If you want to book an appointment with me to talk about your individual career development plans, and also to take a look at your resume or cover letter, feel free to contact me. And I also put a Career Development Office contact email address there. As Dr. Brown mentioned that every year we host an annual career fair, and the upcoming one will come at the end of September this year. Thank you, everyone. Now, we will host our final session, which is our students and the panel and alumni panel discussion. Let's welcome our 4 panelists to the stage. 2 of them are current graduate students, and 2 of them are our alumni. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our panel discussion. And thank you for introducing your personal experience and offer some of your suggestions to our new graduate student. Before we start, I would like you to have a short introduction about yourself, and introduce which graduate program you have already finished.
So my name is Ian Liu, and I am one PhD student in interdisciplinary program, and I just stepped into my third year and standing still. So happy new semester.
Hi, can everybody hear me at the back? Yeah, my name is Azmat, and I graduated just in spring 2025, last semester, from the Master of Computer Science program, course-based. And right now I'm just working with NL Eats as their innovation coordinator. Long story short, made it past Memorial. Thanks.
Thank
Hi,
you,
everyone.
Esmat.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Atinuke. I'm an alumni of MON. I completed my master's in sociology in 2024, and I'm back in school for my PhD in sociology. I work with Bethesda as a community navigator, supporting newcomers who come to Newfoundland to ensure that they are properly integrated.
Hi, good morning, or afternoon, everyone. My name is Wisdom. I'm currently in the graduate department at MON Business, MSc General Management, thesis-based. And I work as a project manager part-time while also being a student. It's my last year here in school, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourself. Now, I would like to ask you to share some information or share some of your suggestions to our new graduate student. May I please ask, why did you choose to study your current or your past graduate program at Emory University? And what has been your best experience at Emory University?
Will I go first? Okay. Wisdom again. So initially, when I'm originally from Nigeria, and so when it came to the decision on what school to attend, I basically looked at which of the schools would have the kind of research experience I was looking out for. My supervisors in Professor Emmanuel Haven and Professor Tom Cooper, I basically look at the fact that they were experts, not just academically, but also had a really good, network like after school. And I'm currently working on my thesis right now. I'm almost wrapping up. And, Memorial University as a whole, the likes of Andrew Kim and Zin, a lot of people here, they basically are out there for you. I think here, it's more of a joint community. They are looking out for you. To be fair, I only knew this in my second year. The very first year, I realized now that there were a lot of resources that I probably missed out on, that if I had advantage to, leverage on them and not just focus on school and work, I probably would have been in a better place. But then there is no time than now. So yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I chose Memorial, something similar to you, because of its emphasis on community-based research. As a social researcher, I found great support at the Department of Sociology, and I also observed that Memorial has good support tailored to ensure that international students succeed. So yeah, those were two strong points for me.
Yeah, all right. So I chose Memorial based on two things. First off was the program that was being offered, which was course-based and which is what I wanted to do. And it had certain fields that I am interested in, like data analytics and AI. Moving forward, like I could do something through the course. And second of all is the province itself. I love nature. So this place seemed to be quite calm and quite far away from all the chaos. So this would be a good place to be. Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys have already basically covered my reason, but for me, I kind of discovered my PhD topic and I found it is naturally interdisciplinary. So it is too overwhelmed to fit into any kinds of one single discipline. So I was looking for interdisciplinary program and then I found Newfoundland and St. John's and Memorial University have this program. So for me, I personally have island life and a small cozy community, like away from huge city kind of thing. So I just felt destiny that I found this program in this university at this point, at that place. So yeah, that's my journey.
Thank you, everyone. My next question is, we know that our grad students may have a busy schedule during their graduate school, especially for some of our grad students. They also need to have family responsibility. Yeah, so do you have any suggestions to or advice to our students about managing academic work and part-time work during their graduate school? Yeah.
Sure. So for me, my secret trick is actually Google Calendar. So it is super practical. And when you have all kinds of class and sessions to attend and your part-time job and sometimes family schedules, if you are here with your loved one, you need to make sure that you know exactly what time you need to show up and what time you need to disappear. So make sure you have a good tool to manage all those things. And for me, I personally use Google Calendar, and it really helps me keep me away from panicking at the last minute. So highly recommend.
Yeah, in terms of mine, I also followed calendars and to-do lists to do what I have to do and know where I have to be. One thing to manage part-time jobs and academics is part-time schedules are given at least a week or two beforehand, so you know what time you will be busy, and just utilize the rest of your time on doing academics or doing chores or taking care of family, and it'll all work out.
Yeah, thank you. I think both of you laid precedents for what I want to say. So my approach is to prioritize school and plan my work schedule around my school schedule. So putting my school at the center ensures that I give my availability to my employer based on when I'm free from like assignments, deadlines, so it doesn't, I don't have conflicting schedules. Also, when selecting part-time employment, I ensure that I chose part-time employment that wasn't exhausting, so I'm not constantly exhausted that I cannot study or I can't meet up to class or to submit that assignment. Also, the other thing I considered is I ensured I chose a part-time job that aligns with my long-term career goals. So instead of just working, I was also gaining experience that was useful for my long-term career goals. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. Laying emphasis on what she just said, I think you kind of emphasize the quality and resources that are here in this school. Zing is like the go-to when it comes to like the grad sweeps and whatnot. And I've had the opportunity I've basically had around 3 internships so far. And most of those internships are aligned to what she said, which is to your goal, your long-term goal. But then they are designed in a way that they understand you're a student. So they try to make, most of them are remote to even go there. But I take it a bit further. I'm a project manager, by the way, so I technically use something we call ClickUp. It does add reminders on my mobile and via email as well. It makes me, because like some of us here, I'm a father of 2, very shocking, but I'm a father of 2, so yeah. So I just had my second child 2 weeks ago. Nice. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So it can be really taxing, but if I can do it, I think you can do it as well.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, all of your advice will be very helpful to our students to make a good balance between work and family and also study. Yeah. Okay, before we close this panel discussion, I have a last question. What do you wish you had known as an incoming graduate student, as all of you, that you discovered on your own? And one piece of advice you would like to give to our new graduate student?
All right, no, I'll go first.
Okay, yeah.
So I will start my answer from the back. So currently, I'm the president of the Society of the Black Graduate Students. The honest truth is there are a lot of associations as well as there are resources that actually look out for you. you can't do this alone. You can't be an island. It's already a small province to begin and a small city. So a lot of people are connected. You need to take networking very, very serious. A lot of people get full-time jobs even before they are done with school, but you have to put in the work. So if I knew better, I probably would have, given myself the opportunity to know more people, attend events like this, and speak to people that matter. Andrew Kim sitting over there, he's your go-to man as well. Everyone should know Andrew Kim by now, the most popular man on campus. So having to know people actually is one of those things I wish I realized.
Okay, so for me, I would say that because I migrated to Newfoundland in 2021, and it was during the COVID-19 pandemic, everything was closed. So I really struggled because it felt like I was alone. I felt so alone, isolated. But I think one thing I realized as I stayed longer here is there's a lot of support, but you need to find it. Migrating from a culture where asking for support is seen as being vulnerable, rather in Canada, it is seen as you being, you're bold enough to identify that I'm struggling and I need help. So it's not a sign of weakness, rather it's a sign of strength. And my advice to you all will be, in your graduate program, the going would get tough, but always remember why you started and ensure that you have the blueprint of the bigger picture in front of you every time. So for me, it was different displays on my wall telling me, oh, enjoy the journey. There are lots of opportunities in the upstream. Sayings like that actually kept me going when I felt so tired, overworked, and felt like there was no end to it. So always have those reminders to remind you why you started and the bigger picture that lies at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you. I would like to share some resources that I came across. The MUN website, I know it is difficult to go through some of the times, but there are a lot of resources available. You need to look for the site map, and a lot of the people would want graduate assistantships. So SGS is doing their graduate internship, Center for Social Enterprise is giving you training, Career Development Office is giving you placements with PSDP. These are the kind of things that I wish I had known before I came in, because that took me a whole semester to understand what's going on. And you need to know where your resources are, and you need to know the right people to go to, and save as many time as possible. Enjoy the experience and network. Do not be shy to go in, pitch yourself, who you are, what you do, what are you working on, to anybody. Be it anybody from a company, starting from a junior position to the CEO, or someone from management, someone from school, someone from your class. You never know who's doing what and where they will be in 2 years. And also, networking got me from one of the seats over there in 2023 to the podium in 2024 to the panel in 2025. So you might be lucky, you will never know where you are and what you do. Just make sure to have enough exposure for yourself and enjoy the Newfoundland weather. Yes. Wait. Yeah, enjoy the weather for now, and then we'll talk about the rest later maybe. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I believe we have already so many theories and general things to look at. So my personal experiences in my first year, I didn't know that Tanman has $250 for reimbursement for childcare and physiotherapy and dental and prescription and more. And I basically throw $250 at my treatment without knowing that. And now I know that, and I want every single of you know that too. And once you got a job like TA or GA or RA, first thing you need to do is sign your membership card with Tanman, and then got your funding and use the right reimbursement form and get your money. So practical suggestion again.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, thank you so much to all the panelists for sharing your advice to help our new graduate students to transit smoothly in their upcoming graduate school.
I think, yeah, that's the end of our panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, before we do the most excited part, we'll do a short introduction about the services and support provided to our graduate students. And also thank you to GSU to helping us organize so many volunteers to provide assistance with today's orientation. Yeah. So Raquel Newman, who is the Executive Director of Campus Life at the GSU, the Graduate Students Union, will introduce the activities, services, and support provided by them. Thank you, Raquel.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. I will make this brief, and I might be looking on my phone because I'm low vision. So first, let me introduce you to the GSU team. I have here our ED Finance, Hashna, ED Communications, Gayatri, ED Academics, Moeed, and ED External Affairs, Imtiaz. So who are we and what do we do? So we're comprised of about 4,000 graduate students. We provide the students with educational, social, and cultural organization. So pretty much we are here to help you as well along your academic journey. If there are some issues that you're facing, you can always reach out to us. We provide also social activities. We're doing the lunch today, so that's one of the other things that we do. We represent your interests with the university as well. We aim to foster communications. So if you check our socials, and they will come up, we're always keeping you updated on the events and happenings that we're having. We just want to make sure that you're involved, you're informed, and you know what's happening with the GSU. The other thing is, at the end of the day, we want to generate a positive experience for everyone. All right, and how do we work? We are elected, so every year we have elections, and once we're elected, we'll start from from May to April, that's our term. We represent you again. So the board of directors, we work and we represent the students. We also have the board of directors that help us to make decisions and in respect to our organization, our operations, and as well as clubs and societies. And we have standing committees. So each director will have a committee. Like for me, I have a social events committee. We have academics committees. And these committees also help to execute. So you'd have seen our volunteers all over. That would also be under Campus Life. And we just help to make sure everything's run smoothly. And of course, we have coordinators and staff. So if you have emailed us through the GSU MUN email or through Health and Dental, it would have been one of the coordinators and staff that answers these emails. Okay, so these are our contact information up here. You can feel free to take a photo. It's also on our website. This is how you reach us. We are very responsive, and so feel free to reach out to us. Only like you may get delays on the weekends and holidays, just be mindful of that, but we try to respond within a reasonable time. All right, and that, before I close, I just want to say stay tuned to our social media and our website. We have some exciting events coming up. One thing to be mindful of, we will have on September 18th, save that date, we'll have our clubs and societies fair that will be held at the Whale Atrium from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll have academic activities coming up as well as a finance fair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raquel. So that's the end of all information sessions today. Thank you for everyone attending today's orientation.